from Jena University made up this entire dumb idea in 1869. Darwin's book came out in 1859. The next year it was translated to German. Haeckel read the book and said, wow, what a great theory. If only we had some evidence. 9 years later, they still had no evidence, so Haeckel decided to make some. He was an embryology professor. He's taught how embryos develop, so he took a drawing of a dog and a human embryo and changed them, made them look just alike, and said, see, this proves we have a common ancestor with dogs. Well, nobody caught on or stopped him, so he did a bunch more. He took drawings of all kinds of different animals and faked them, and he made them all look very, very similar. Haeckel made giant posters of his fake drawings and traveled all over Germany and told everybody, you ought to believe this new theory because we've got the proof right here. After all, he's a professor of embryology. He wouldn't lie, would he? And how many folks back then had microscopes to check him out? We're talking creatures about this big, you know. Haeckel just about single-handedly converted the Germans to believing in evolution, which led to the obvious conclusion, hey, if evolution is true, then maybe one race has evolved farther than the rest. I wonder who it is. Must be the Germans. We'll see where that led on tape 5. On top are Haeckel's fake drawings. Underneath are actual photographs of what he claimed he was drawing a picture of. Haeckel lied deliberately. His own university held a trial and convicted him in 1875. He said, I should feel utterly condemned, except hundreds of biologists lie under the same charge. Everybody else lies, so it's okay for me to lie too. Haeckel's biogenetic law is as dead as a doornail, folks. It's not true. It never was true. Proven wrong, 1875. It's not true. He was convicted of fraud. His own university held a trial and convicted one of their own professors of lying. But his drawings are still used in textbooks in your county tonight. Proven wrong 125 years ago. Darwin wrote his book, 1859. He predicted evidence would be found. 1869, Haeckel faked the drawings. 1875, he was convicted of lying. But his drawings are still in textbooks 125 years later. Now, I know it takes a while for textbooks to get up to date. But I think 125 years is long enough. They're still teaching this stuff in textbooks all over the world. This one says, if proof of evolution from a common ancestor because of the gill slits on the human. This is simply a lie. Here's a year 2000 textbook teaching it. 2001 junior high textbook. The similarities provide evidence that these three animals evolved from a common ancestor. What similarities, teacher? Don't you see they have tiny gill slits? Folks, this is a lie. Why are we still teaching this to our kids? Here's a 2000 college textbook. Similar, humans and fish embryos resemble each other because humans and fish share a common ancestor. This college textbook says the human has gill pouches. Biology, Arms in Camp, one of the worst ones there is, shows a 5 to 6 week embryo, but then it says by 7 months the fetus looks like a tiny normal baby, but it's not. It's not a baby at 7 months. Hello? It's a human at conception. Every doctor knows that. 34% of babies born at 5.5 months are going to survive. Maybe you heard about the lady that had surgery on her baby before it was born. They cut the mother open, cut the uterus open, and there's the baby holding the doctor's finger, 5 months along. Let's see, the angel of the Lord said, behold, thou art with fetus. No, I believe he said you are with child, didn't he? Hey, did you know it's a child before it's born? God knows that. Get more on the embryology lie on the book Icons of Evolution. Why do they keep this in the textbooks? That's the only way to justify abortion. They want you to think it's just a fish or an amphibian. You're not killing a child, you're killing a fish. That's why it's in the books, folks. Somebody wants to reduce the population of our planet. His name is Satan. We'll cover more on that on video number 5 about the effects of this evolution.
Welcome back to Truth Seekers. If you guys would like to call in, there are the phone numbers up there. We've got 2 lines tonight. Again, it's December 15th, 2007 here in Portland, Saturday night. Any of you guys, either of you guys want to comment on that or anything else?
Well, yeah, the last chart they showed in Icons of Evolution, you always notice they have this crouching ape and it progresses up to a human, and the human will be white, and as they go back towards an ape, they get darker and darker and darker. And even though when I was in school, we were told, oh yeah, you know, racism is bad and etc., but there was always this intrinsic message that the darker a person is, the less evolved that they are. And I remember in 1977, I met a girl that worked at a bank here. Actually, I lived in Northeast Portland at the time, on Killingsworth. Now it's MLK. And we had got friendly enough to where we thought about going out. And I remember stopping and thinking, but if this goes somewhere and we get married, my children will be taking a step back genetically. So even though I didn't consider myself a racist, because of this kind of teaching, I was. And so I didn't, you know, I never pursued that relationship or went beyond that, just because of it. And the schools can say, oh no, we're against racism and all this stuff, but when they feed this kind of information to children, you're subliminally telling them that white people, and of course Hitler, you know, I mean, it's, when he's looking at this same stuff, it's like, well, who's at the top of that chain? The white guy.
So you were learning this in Ireland at the same time we were learning this here in the States,
yeah,
of course.
in you know, because I like biology, and I took all that, and I didn't realize I was a racist, but I just assumed, because that's what they're always showing. So they don't openly say that whites are better than blacks. They say that we shouldn't consider blacks less. And then your thought as a child then is, why are they telling us that we shouldn't consider them less, unless there's a reason why maybe they are? And that's intrinsic to evolution. Even National Geographic, they always have that same thing. The more evolved something is, the whiter they show it. Now, they never found any color on these skeletons. That's always an artist's rendition. They're making up the black tones they put on these, you know, Lucy and all these other so-called missing links. The color skin that you see put on those is an artist's idea.
Maybe it's because primates are usually have darker fur. If all the primates had albino fur,
well, there's a silver
they'd
white,
have a problem, right?
Yeah, but there are great white apes.
Yeah,
there are there, but it's just, so why do they always show that the less advanced something is, the blacker it is? It's just like this. It's a racist religion. That's what I think evolution is.
Satan wants people to kill each other, and so this goes on.
Yeah.
Let me see, I was going to make a comment relating to that.
The opposite is actually true. If a white person marries a black person, they increase their genetic knowledge, because as each race splits off, just like if you develop a purebred dog, it actually is more prone to disease because it doesn't have any, if it has a heart problem, say, and you cross it with another dog and you get a mongrel, but this one has good genes for a heart, then you end up with a better breed, and mutts are usually healthier than thoroughbred dogs. So you actually, the opposite of what a person that thinks in evolution is true. If they marry interracially, they increase the genetic information that's available in the children. So, but evolutionary thinking would tell you, oh no, you shouldn't do that.
Yes. I had the thought and it escaped me again.
Sorry.
Not as sorry as I am. Let's see, what I was going to share was, Hovind gets into this too, that the term race is not used in the Bible, of course. Scripture says that God is made of all nation, of one blood, all nations. And so the word race, there's no such thing. We're talking skin color. And humans are humans no matter what. Now, later in this video, Hovind, we may get into it or not, but Hovind talks about Margaret Sanger, who started Planned Parenthood. And she was an open racist. At that time, she even had people from Hitler's Nazi party come and be quoted and be interviewed in her magazines and stuff like that. And she talked about also eugenically creating superior races, just as Hitler did with his whole Aryan thing, all based on the evolutionary theory and lie. Yeah. And you know, the Bible's always right, folks. It's people like us, humans, they get it all messed up.
And now genetically we can prove that the Bible is right, because even Scientific American recognizes that all women can be traced back to one gene, to the mitochondrial DNA.